Ready. So we're going to start out actually on the floor with our blocks, opening up our backs right now. So we're going to be lying down first. We will be moving towards standing eventually, but just to get a moment to open up the back muscles and the chest. So grab your blocks. If you have a blanket nearby, you may want a blanket, but the blocks are what's most important right now. So let's say you only have a blanket and you don't have blocks, then you want to roll up your blanket here. You can also use a bolster if you happen to have a bolster nearby. So that's a really great one. But blanket is rolled up, and then you get that blanket underneath your back and your head, and you can take your arms out to the sides. I'm going to go for something a little bit more involved in terms of getting my back to open up. So I often end practice this way, but this is a great way to start the practice as well, especially so I was hunched over planting trees. So I'm going to go in the other direction with my body, but you'll notice this is kind of sitting in a desk posture also. So take the block under your upper back. The bottom of the block will come to about where your shoulder blades, the tips of your shoulder blades hit. This is where, if you wear a bra, then that's where your bra strap would be. So you can probably have a pretty good idea to imagine why, because that's where the tips of the shoulder blades are. And then take the other block under your head, and then take the arms out to the sides. And we're not going to stay here forever, but we are going to take a moment to just breathe deeply, open up the chest, take those arms out to the sides. Take a couple yawns if you need to, stretch out if you need to. Check out your mat up above you. See if you can grab your mat with your hands. If you don't have enough mat, if you're really up high up on the mat and you can't grab your mat, take a moment to scoot down a little bit closer to the bottom of your mat so that you can grab your mat or the sides of your mat. And just check it out. So we're not going to just yet go into a full-blown stretch, but make sure that you are situated in a place where you can eventually. And take some nice big breaths. Just take a few moments. You may need to readjust a little bit, try to get the shoulder blades squeezed together a little bit more. All right, now reach above your head and grab your mat. Grab either the top of your mat or the sides of your mat, and you're going to push the mat away from you. So you're essentially trying to straighten your arms. So push the mat away from you, see if you can get your arms a little bit straighter. What you're going to feel, though, the goal is not actually to get the arms straight. The goal is actually to push the mat away enough the arm bones come into your shoulder sockets. They really ground into your shoulder sockets. And you'll feel a little bit more back bend happening in that upper back. Things will open up a little bit more as you pull the arm bones into your shoulder sockets. And this is a really great instruction for when we go into fuller back bends as well. It's the reason why we take a moment pushing up into a back bend if we're trying to go into a full-blown back bend, a full wheel. It's the reason why you take a moment with your head on the ground, pulling your arm bones into your shoulder sockets. Same concept of trying to get those shoulders to open up and that upper back to open up. So I'm still pushing the mat away from me. Taking some deep breaths. And I could stay here all morning, but we're going to do some other stuff. So release those arms down to your hips. Grab the mat down next to your thighs, hips. Press into the mat, press your elbows into the ground, and gently come up. I'm going to take a moment to put your blocks up at the top of your mat. Okay, so from here, that same opening up that you just felt in your upper back, we're going to do this in downward dog as well. So take your hands underneath your shoulders, claw the ground with your fingertips so you're not using just wrist here. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and then roll the shoulders onto your back. Sink your heart down toward the ground, so you're trying to get that upper back bend feel. Maybe even do a couple shoulder rolls here, rolling the shoulders onto your back a couple times. Once you feel that melting of your heart between your shoulder blades, then go ahead and flip your toes over and push into a downward dog. And then walk it out a little bit. It may feel really stiff. The backs of your legs might feel stiff, but just keep trying to find that melting heart feeling. Relax the neck a little bit. Gently shake out the head, nod the head. All right, look up, inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Grab your elbows, press your top forearm into your bottom forearm. Swing from side to side a little bit. Remember to breathe. And then take the hands to the hips, squeeze the elbows toward each other, bend the knees generously. Inhale, come all the way up. And from here, let's go for a few sun salutation C's. So we'll start with C, and then we'll go back to A and B. Take the arms up on the inhale and look up toward the thumbs. Exhale, fold, bend the knees. Inhale, stretch forward and look forward. Exhale, step your left leg back, drop your back knee. Take the arms up. Drop your shoulders, look up toward your thumbs, drag your left knee and your right heel toward each other. And big exhale. Hands down to the ground, step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. Take 5 breaths here. Just check in, see where you're tight. So for me, it's all hamstring in the back, since I was hunched over a lot yesterday. And then bring that left knee up into your chest and step it forward. Drop your back knee. Take the arms up on the inhale. Drop your shoulders, look up. Drag to the midline. And exhale. Take the hands down on the ground, step your right leg forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, right leg back. Drop your back knee. Take the arms up on the inhale. Now we're going to add in some more shoulders. So stretch back with your arms, and then take the arms out to the sides. And then once you get down below parallel here, turn the thumbs down and interlace the fingers. And stretch your fists down and open up your heart. All right, release. Bring the hands down the ground, step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky. Take 5 breaths here. Relax your neck. And bring that knee into your chest and then step it forward. Drop your back knee. Take the arms up at first. Drag to the midline. Zip up the belly, drop the shoulders, and then start stretching back more, and then coming down to the sides. And when you get to about parallel to the ground, start turning the thumbs down. Interlace your fingers, put the other thumb and first finger on top, go for your non-dominant grip. Stretch, lift your heart. Keep dropping the shoulders. All right, and then release the hands down to the ground. Step forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back. Drop your back knee. right, let's go for our open twist. So you're gonna bring your arms to the inside of your right leg, and you can use a block if you want to. Turn your right toes out, bring your right hand to your thigh, and roll your right shoulder onto your back, and then roll that left shoulder onto your back. And then this is always a great posture to hang out in. If you want to work into the quadriceps, you can. So you can try to bend that back knee. Whether or not you bend the back knee, reach back with your right arm. And as you get more flexible, you'll end up grabbing that foot someday. But that left shoulder really likes to roll in, so roll the left shoulder onto your back. Look over your shoulder, that way you get a nice curve in your neck. And if you think about it, and I'm just gonna keep using the gardener thought here, since that is what we're working on today. If you're gardening, you're looking down a lot and straining your neck. So you want to pull your chin back, pull your entire head back. Try to get that nice curve in your neck as you look over your shoulder. All right, take the hands down to the ground. Step back. Lift your left leg toward the sky. Open up the hip and bend the knee. Wherever you go is fine. All right, bring that left knee up into your chest, step it forward. Let's go for the other side. So arms to the inside of your left leg. Turn your left toes out a little bit. Plant your right hand. Bring your left hand to your thigh. Roll your left shoulder on your back. Roll your right shoulder onto your back. Look over. Pull your chin back a little bit so you get a nice curve here in the neck. Look over that left shoulder. Reach back with your left arm. If you want to add in the leg, bend the leg. Drag the right knee forward. Possibly grab the foot. Big breaths. All right, and then unwind and step back or step forward. Inhale, stretch your heart forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, right leg back. Drop your back knee. All right, from here, we're going to do a little twist to your right. So your left leg is forward, your right leg is back. You're going to walk over to the right side here. Lift your right rib cage. You're going to turn your left toes in, and you're going to come into your left leg and take your right toes up. And then from here, you can either stay here or use your block, which will help you balance. So you're getting a little bit of inner thigh and hamstring. If you want to balance more and work on ankle strength, you can do this. Bring your hands into your heart center. You can also get more of a stretch by taking your arms forward. So there's all sorts of stuff to play with here. You can also do a twist. So if you want to do your twist, you bring your left hand to the ground, press the back of your left arm into the inside of your left leg, and take your right arm toward the sky. Oh, that feels good. So nice big breaths, big inhales, big exhales. You decide where you want to go. What we're doing here is we're opening up the groin, hamstring, and trying to get a little bit more flexibility in the Achilles tendon of your left leg. All right, let's come back down, turn toward the front of your mat, and then step back. Lift your right leg toward the sky, open up the hip and bend the knee. Left shoulder's gonna lift a little bit. Try to keep the shoulders level. All right, we're gonna go to the other side. Bring that right knee in, step it forward, drop your back knee, bring your arms to the inside of your left leg. Take a moment here and take some nice deep breaths. And then you're gonna walk it over to that left corner a little bit. Turn your right toes in a little bit toward that left corner. And slowly move through so that your weight is in your right foot, right heel is trying to press down. Left toes are gonna point up toward the sky. Use a block or practice balancing. See if you can get that right heel down a little bit lower. Another option is to stretch forward, walk your hands forward. Nice big breathing. And another option is to get a little bit of a twist in and bring that right arm to the inside of your right leg and press into your leg and take your left arm toward the sky. All right, and slowly turn toward the front of your mat and step your left leg forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it to the sky. And exhale, arms to the sides. All right, we're gonna do sun salutation B with some variations involved. Big toes together, hips slightly apart. Interlace the fingers and press the palms of the hands forward and sink back. And then keep sinking down and keep pressing forward with the palms of the hands. Zip up your low belly. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges. Inhale, take it up. And big exhale. Take the hands down to the ground. Step back. Press forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, tops the feet. Exhale, downward dog. Right heel plants, left foot lunges. Take it up on the inhale. And big exhale. Hands to the ground. Step your left leg back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Again, relax your neck. Shake out your head, nod your head. Lift the armpits up and roll your shoulders onto the back. And look up, inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, sink down, take the arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs. Arms to the sides. All right, let's go for a twist. Take the arms up on the inhale. Sink back into Utkatasana. Drop the shoulders and pull the arms back a little bit more in line with the ears. And then exhale, twist to your right. Hook that left elbow to the outside of your right leg. Tuck your left hip back. See if you can drop your hips a little bit. There's some fun versions of this. You can take your left hand to the ground and right arm up. Look over your shoulder. All right, unwind. Take the arms up on the inhale. Let's go for another one. Exhale, sink down, twist to your left. Take that right arm to the outside of your left leg. Tuck your right hip back. Maybe extend the arms. And inhale, take it up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Let's lunge the right leg forward. Take it up on the inhale. And then open up for warrior two. So just take a moment, make sure your right foot lines up with the heel and arch of your heel or arch of your back foot. Drop your shoulders. Keep dropping the shoulders. Turn the palm of the right hand up toward the sky and come into exalted warrior. Little back bend. And just be aware of that right leg. It likes to straighten here, so make sure the right knee stays nice and bent over the ankle. All right, and then exhale, take the hands down to the ground. Side plank. Step back, bring your left hand to the ground or your left forearm Come to the pinky edge of your left foot, and then take your right arm toward the sky. And let's get a little bit of a back bend here too. So you're gonna bring your right hand to the back of your head, and then press your head back into your right hand. So you're gonna open up the shoulders a little bit. All right, right hand back down to the ground. Press forward, lift your chin, lower down halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale. Press into the outer edge of your back foot. Drop the shoulders, look up. All right, let's turn this into warrior two. Turn to the right. Make sure your left foot lines up with the heel or arch of your back foot. Drop your shoulders, look straight down your middle left finger. Keep dropping the shoulders. Turn the palm of the left hand toward the sky, exalted warrior. Right hand's going to come to the right leg. Left leg is going to try to stay bent. Look up toward the left hand. All right, come back through. Pinwheel your hands down to the ground, side plank on your right hand or right forearm. So step back, come to the pinky edge of your right foot. Take your left arm toward the sky. If you're on the hand, claw the ground. Once you're feeling pretty stable, take that left hand to the back of your head and press your head back into your hand. All right, and then left hand back to the ground. Press back to down dog for a moment. Walk it out. And we're going to go into heart melting pose, Anahatasasana. So drop your knees. Make sure your hips stay over your knees. Slide your hands forward. And then see if you can get your chin or your forehead to the ground. Once you get that to the ground, melt your heart towards the ground. Imagine you have a big, heavy, smooth stone on your upper back that's melting the heart. Lift your arms up a little bit, press down into the hands a little bit. All right, push slowly into the ground and walk your hands back. Let's find your down dog again. Find that same heart melting in that down dog. Melt the heart toward the ground, lift the arms up and roll the shoulders onto your back, stretch the top of the head toward the fingers. And look up. Inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, sink down, take the arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms to the sides. All right, step back with your right foot. Turn your right toes toward the back of your mat. We're going to go for triangle first. Arms out. Right foot lines up with the heel or arch of your back foot, and then the outer edge of your back foot is parallel to the short edge of your mat. And then reach through the right-hand side and bring your right hand down to your leg somewhere. And then take that left arm toward the sky. So the most important part of this posture is that your right side is lengthening here. So try to draw your right hip and your right rib cage away from each other. Try to stretch out through that right side. And then gently twist your rib cage toward the ceiling and look up toward your left hand. All right, bend the front knee, put your left hand on your hip, inhale, come on up. Let's do triangle on the other side. Put your right toes in, left toes toward the front of the mat or the other short end. Take the arms out to the sides, big inhale. Left hip's gonna drop a little bit, reach to the left-hand side, and then bring your left hand down to your left leg. Right arm toward the sky. So big breathing, push down through your back heel, press down through the ball of your front foot. Roll your left knee more toward your pinky toe, your left pinky toe. Lengthen through the left side. All right, come on up. Bring your hands to your hips. Turn your left toes in so the outer edges of both feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. Lift your heart on the inhale. We're going to do a forward bend with our hands on the hips, and then we're going to use our strap probably for the next one. Lift your heart on the inhale. Exhale, forward bend. So if you're really tight in the hamstrings, you're going to stay about parallel. If you're a little bit looser, you're going to try to hinge at the hips more, but you still want to keep your chest up and your chin up. And then squeeze your elbows toward each other. Pretend you're holding a beach ball between your elbows. If you feel any tugging behind the knees, bend the knees a little bit, soften them. Notice where your weight is in your feet. So most of us tend toward pressing into the outer edges of the feet. Make sure you have some weight in the inner edges of your feet as well, so your inner thighs are engaged. All right, bend the knees, inhale, come on up. And now you might use your strap. So I'm gonna use the strap just in case. I'm also gonna turn the other direction so you can see different ways to do this. So you're gonna have that same posture, pretty wide with the feet, and then we're gonna go for right arm up and grab your right elbow and try to bring your right arm behind your head. So my strap is in my right hand. Then I take my left arm, thumb down, bring my hand up, see if I can grab my strap or my fingers. If you have a little bit more flexibility in the shoulders, you can just go for the hands. If you are really tight and you feel pinching in this left bottom shoulder here, then you're not going to do this one. You're going to clasp your hands together and bring your fist over to the right side so that you can start opening up that left shoulder a little bit more. So whichever one you choose, pick one. And then we're going to go for a forward bend again. So fist over to the right, or you're going to go for the full-blown posture with or without strap. And then forward bend. Keep your chin up. Big breaths. And bend the knees. Inhale, come on up. Let's go for the other side. So you're going to put the strap in your left hand if you want to go for the full-blown posture. Get that left hand behind you. Grab your left elbow and see if you can get a little bit more behind your head. And then right arm, thumb down. Bring the hand up, grab a strap or your fingers. And same thing here. If you're tight through this right shoulder, you're going to clasp your hands together and bring your fist around towards your left side so that you can open up this right shoulder. So whatever works, just make sure you don't feel pinching in the front of that right shoulder. Keep your chin up. So you want a nice neutral curve in your neck by pressing your head back slightly. And then exhale, forward bend. All right, come on up on the inhale, release the arms. Put that strap up at the top of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips and turn your toes out. Then you're going to sink down. So depending on the discipline of yoga that you're in, this might be called temple pose, goddess pose, Kali squat. There are a lot of variations. Some people call this the horse. So from here, your knees are going to roll in a little bit. So gently press your knees back, or you can also sort of manhandle yourself. Take your thigh muscles and wrap them back and around, and that'll help open up the inner thighs a little bit more. So you're in a squat, tighten up your buttocks. You can lean forward a little bit until you start feeling a little bit more less wobbly, right? And then you can get up a little taller with your torso. Breathe deeply, and then see if you can lift your heels up. All right, drop the heels. Inhale, come on up. and toe heel in. Okay, we're gonna do another hamstring stretch here. So you may want to use your block and put your block to the outside of your right foot, and then take a step back so you have about 2 to 3 feet between your legs. You're on 2 separate tracks here. So your right foot points to 12 o'clock, left foot points to about 10 or 11 o'clock. Take your hands behind your back in prayer position. So I'm showing prayer position here. This is actually a pretty tough posture. So if you can't do this, you can go fingers down, or you can grab your elbows or forearms. We're just trying to get the shoulders onto the back. Then from here, pull the front ribs in a little bit, lift your chin, inhale, and then exhale, forward bend. Wherever you are with the arms, try to lift the elbows. Press down through the back heel and through the ball of the front foot. All right, now we're gonna go for a twist. Inhale, come up halfway. Release your hands to your thigh or your shin. If you are more flexible, you can come down to the ground. But we're trying to maintain a nice long flat back here. So as you hinge, make sure your chest is up, your chin is up, your back leg is engaged, your back leg is your kickstand, pushing down through the heel. And then you're gonna take your left hand to, so if you're a little tighter, left hand to the thigh, and you're gonna twist. If you're a little bit looser, shin, a little bit looser, bring it down to the block. If you're a little bit looser, bring your hand down to the ground. Whatever your hamstrings will allow. And then take your right thumb at your right hip crease and tack it back. Take that right arm toward the sky, and you should be feeling a bit of a hip opener. So it'll be the right hip running down the outside of the right thigh, IT band. Push down through the back heel, lengthen your tailbone back and your heart forward. So keep trying to get the spine long. And if you can, look over your right shoulder. Don't forget to breathe. All right, exhale, look down. You're gonna bring your block with you if you're using it on this side. So inhale, come on up, and we're gonna turn to the other side. So just turning to face the back of your mat now. Left toes pointing to 12 o'clock, right toes pointing to about 1 or 2 o'clock. If you're using your block, put it to the outside of your left foot. Take your hands behind your back again. So grab your elbows or forearms or put your hands in prayer position. Zip up your belly, pull the front ribs in, lift your chin, big inhale, and then exhale, forward bend. And keep working on the legs here. So press down through the back heel, press down through the ball of the front foot. Make sure those legs feel very active, rooting down into the ground. That will help the hips open up. That will help the spine lengthen. Keep lifting those elbows. And again, if you're a little bit higher, that's fine. The whole point is to try to tack that left hip back and root down through your back heel. If you are twisting now, which you will in a moment, inhale, lift up, release the hands to the thigh or the shin, or if you can keep your back long down to the ground, press down through the back heel, press down through the ball of the front foot, squeeze your inner thighs together, tack that left hip back, breathe deeply. Maybe see if there's a little bit more deeper forward bend here. All right, and right hand is going to come to the thigh or the shin or the block or the ground. Again, maintain that flat back, so that's what's going to distinguish where you are, how high or how low you are. Take that left thumb into the left hip crease, lengthen out through the spine, and then exhale, gently twist, and look over your left shoulder. Keep tacking your left hip back, keep pushing through your back heel. If it seems appropriate, take your left arm toward the sky. All right, and then exhale, look down. Inhale, come on up and come to a standing posture. Okay, so we're gonna go for a quadricep stretch. And if you've got really tight quads or not so flexible knees, you're gonna use a strap. So spread your toes out on your left foot, put the strap around your ankle or grab your foot. and you're going to stretch your right knee toward the ground. So this is the precursor to dancer pose. And you're going to keep stretching your knee down, zip up the belly, pull the front ribs in, get a quad stretch. If this feels okay, then you're going to lengthen your spine more, get some lift in the vertebra. Take the left arm toward the sky, grab your foot from the inside. You can still use this with a strap. And you're going to push that foot against your hand or against the strap. So breathe deeply, a little bit of a back bend. And we'll let that go. Let's go to the other side. Spread the toes on your right foot, get a nice base. Grab the top of your left foot or put a strap around your foot. Stretch your knee toward the ground, zip up your belly, pull the front ribs in. Take your right arm toward the sky. Keep stretching that left knee down. All right, see if you can grab the inside of the foot, and you're gonna press the foot into the hand or into the strap and keep lifting your spine. All right, let that go. Okay, so now we're gonna do eagle, and I'll demonstrate this from a different angle. So you may end up using your block. If you're a little tight or a little wobbly, put the block to the outside of your left foot. You're gonna spread your toes out on your left foot, bend your left leg, take your right leg as high as you can, and then cross it as high as you can over your left leg. And the left leg can be a little bent too. And then you're gonna try to pull that right foot in toward the left calf. So if you can't quite get in there, put your foot on the block. Eventually, someday you might be able to wrap your right foot around the back of your left calf, but let that happen naturally. Don't try to force it. And then once you're there, press your knees out against each other. You're gonna take your arms into saguaro cactus arms. Take your right elbow underneath your left elbow. If you're really tight, this may be where you hang out. You might be able to bring the backs of your hands together, or you may be able to wrap it around and bring the palms of your hands together. If you're super tight in the shoulders, don't even go for that wrap. Just try to bring your forearms together. And then start with your elbows up at about shoulder level. Breathe. And then slowly start dragging everything down. So elbows down, shoulders down. See if you can start bringing the elbows closer to your knees. Inner thighs are going to soften back toward the groin, and the knees keep pushing out into each other. So I'm making this look really easy. Most people are up a little higher. It's okay. As long as you're feeling something in the shoulders and hips, you're in a good place. All right, and then unwind, and let's go for the other side. So take that block over to the right of your right foot. Spread the toes out on your right foot. Bend your right knee. Take your left leg up as high as you can over your right leg. Bring that left foot either to the block or to the outside of the leg. Maybe wrap it around, whatever works. Take the arms out. Again, maybe forearms together or maybe a left elbow under the right elbow. Start at chin level at first. Press your knees gently against each other. Soften back from inner thighs to groin. Stick your tailbone out a little bit. And then as appropriate, start dragging your elbows down and see if you can get a little bit more bend in the knees. All right, and then come on out of that one. And now let's do one more standing pose. So you're gonna do standing pigeon. Spread your toes out on your left foot, bend your left leg, cross your right ankle on top, and then bend your left leg a little bit more. So hands can start on the hips. As you bend your left leg, you're gonna notice this right hip starts feeling more stretch. So you can use depending on how tight you are, you can use a wall to push against. You can grab onto a chair. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can bring hands down to blocks here. If you're way more flexible, then you bring your hands down to the ground. So just figure out what works for your right hip. Use something to stabilize if you need to. Try to stick your tailbone out. So I'm going to give you a little bit more instruction on technique here. A lot of us, because of the tightness in our hips, we tend to tuck our butts under. You want to stick your tailbone out. So it's almost like you've got a tail and you're trying to roll that tail toward the ceiling. Keep trying to essentially flare your hips out in this posture. Zip up the low belly. All right, come on out of it. Let's go for the other side. Spread your toes out on your right foot. Make a little bend in the knees so you can make a shelf to cross that left leg on top. And then you're going to go ahead and find a posture that works. So again, if you're really tight and really high, that's fine. You may want to hold on to a wall, or you may want to like right hand on the wall or hands on the wall or on a chair. Otherwise, maybe get down to a block or two. And if you're feeling pretty loose, if this is your left side and you're a right-hander, this is probably your tighter side. So make extra effort to breathe deeply. Big, big breaths. Hip muscles are huge. They suck up a lot of oxygen. Make sure you're breathing really deeply. All right, and then come on out of that. Nice. Okay, so from here, let's come to the ground. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step your left leg back and drop your back knee to the ground. All right, we're gonna go for a side stretch. So use your block. Your block is gonna go to the right and you're gonna take your left arm up. So you're gonna drop your hips as much as you can, and you can always widen the space between your left knee and your right foot. And then put that block over to the right and reach over to the right-hand side. So you're getting a big stretch to the left side. And then slowly turn your gaze toward your left hand so you have a nice neutral neck. If you're feeling really flexible here, you don't have to use your block. You can just reach for the ground so you can get your fingertips to the ground. All right, we're going for a twist. Keep that nice side stretch and parlay that into your right leg. So you're gonna twist and bring that left arm to the outside of the right leg. Bring your hands together. Maybe flip your back toes over. Lengthen your spine. Zip up your belly. Pull the front ribs in. And then press into that left foot a little bit. Left knee might not come up a lot, but see what you can do. So we're working on this outer hip again. All right. From here, use your blocks. You're gonna shift back so your hips are over your left knee. Flex your right toes toward your face. Drag your right heel back toward you on the mat and do a little forward bend over that right leg. And I like to turn my toes in a little bit, my toes out a little bit, because that way you can work through all the hamstrings. There's more than one. All right, now we're going to slide into something that might resemble the splits, but really what you're just doing is trying to get a quadricep stretch and a hamstring stretch at the same time. So slide right leg forward a little bit. How does those hamstring area, how does that feel? If that feels pretty good, then see if you can walk your back leg back a little bit. And once you start feeling something happening in the front hamstrings and the back quadriceps, that's where you're in a good place. And you still want to resist. So I'm still pushing my front heel very firmly into the mat. And I'm actually using my back foot to kind of push my left leg forward into my hip socket as well. So I'm trying not to slide into the posture. I'm actually trying to resist the slide a little bit. And then wherever you end up is fine. If you tend to be a more flexible person, you can go into the splits eventually. If you are not so flexible, just breathe and experiment. Again, these are massive muscles that you're working with. So the better you breathe, the deeper you breathe, the more you're going to get oxygen to them and they're going to be much happier with you. And they will let you know how much flexibility they have. They'll use up all that oxygen, but they'll also let you know if they can go a little deeper or if they're pretty happy where they are. So keep breathing. I like to rock slightly from side to side, just a little bit, to make sure I'm getting all the muscles involved, not just one hamstring or one quadricep. Take about 3 more big breaths. All right, let's go for a child's pose first, just to even out the hips. So knees are going to go wide, and then take a moment to press back. So this is a very active child's pose. You're going to press forward into the mat with your hands, push the hips back toward the heels. All right, let's go for the other side. So from here, lunge your left leg forward. Same premise here. If you'd like to use a block, that is a great idea. So you can use that block over there on the left side. So put enough space between your legs that you're starting to feel a little bit of hip opening and groin opening here. And then take that right arm up and stretch over to the left-hand side. Drop your hips, zip up your belly. If you're feeling flexible, reach down with your fingertips or just push into that block. All right, turn that into a twist. Take that right arm to the outside of your left leg, lift your belly up, pull it around a little bit. Bring your hands together, lengthen your spine. If it seems appropriate, flip your back toes over. At the minimum, just to keep your knee from digging into the ground, and then pressing into the ground so that knee's a little lighter, and eventually that knee will come up off the ground. All right, and then unwind. And you're going to shift your weight back so that your hips are over your knee. Flex your left toes back. Drag your left heel back. And this may be where you are. This may be your forward bend and you may not go any deeper, and that is okay. So I'm pressing into my blocks, leaning forward a little bit, but mostly making sure my spine is long and my chest is up and my chin is up. If it seems appropriate, go further and hinge at the hips. You can turn your toes in a little bit, turn your toes out a little bit, drag your heel back a little bit. Maybe the belly comes a little bit closer to the thigh. All right, let's start turning this into a bit of splits. So slide forward a tiny bit, slide back a little bit. Maybe this is where you are. Use your blocks. If you want to go a little deeper, just remember to breathe. Make sure there's lots of oxygen flowing. Maybe rock from side to side a little bit. Big breaths. Keep your breath strong. You get about 4 or 5 breaths to go. And don't try to force each side to look like the other one. So there may be, you have injuries or maybe you're just really tight. Don't try to look the same on each side. Just let your body tell you what it's ready for. All right, come on out of it. Child's pose one more time. Anytime you do an asymmetrical posture, it's a good idea to do a symmetrical posture. Make sure those SI joints and hips are all lined up. All right, let's do a little bit more shoulder opener. So you're gonna roll onto your belly. And we're gonna do, this is more of a functional movement type of thing. So you're gonna take your right arm in front and left arm behind. And you're gonna take them out to the sides and switch. So now left arm's in front and right arm's behind. Do it again. And this time you're gonna bring your right hand to the back of your head and the back of your left hand to your back, your low back. And you're gonna lift your chest and also lift your hands. And that might be really tough to do. And then you're gonna come back through and go the other direction. So back of the right hand to your low back, palm of the left hand to your head, and then see if you can lift off of your head and off of your low back. And then go ahead and make a little pillow, turn your head to one side, rest for a moment, and then we're gonna go for one of my favorite shoulder openers. So first shoulder opener, you're gonna scooch over to the left side of your mat. Make sure you have a block at the top of your mat. Take your right arm out to the side, and then you're gonna drop it down. So if it's pointing out to about 3 o'clock, drop it down to about 4 or 5 o'clock. Bend your left leg. You're gonna take your left hand and press it into the ground and roll onto your right thigh, right hip, and put your left foot flat on the ground. Then take your block, slide it under your head, flip your right hand over so the palm of the hand is facing the ceiling, and then reach your left arm back behind you and see if you can grab your right hand. Great shoulder opener. And then if you want to go a little deeper, that's fine, but you want to maintain that curve in your low back. So this posture can sometimes tuck everything under and put some strain in the back. So stick the tailbone out, make sure there's a curve in your back. And then you might want to put your right foot on the ground and continue to twist. And you may be able to push that right foot in the ground and drop your left hip. So experiment, but don't force anything. Breathe deeply. All right, roll back onto your belly. Let's go for the other side. So you're gonna scoot over to the right side of your mat. Take your left arm out to the side, drop it down a little bit, somewhere between 9 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And then you're gonna place your right hand flat on the ground, roll onto your left side, put your right foot flat on the ground, put that block under your head, and then reach back with your right arm and see if you can grab your left hand with your right hand. If it seems appropriate, put your left foot on the ground as well. So both knees will point toward the ceiling. Make sure there's a curve in your low back. Maybe drop your right hip toward the ground. Big breaths. All right, and then unwind. From here, extend your arms out in front of you. You're going to squeeze your legs together. So a really good way to get your legs together and hold them together is to lift your right leg up, roll the knee into the midline, bring it back down. Lift the left leg up, roll the knee into the midline, bring it back down. So you're essentially trapping your quads toward the inner thighs. Squeeze your ankles together, so you're essentially making one big leg out of your legs, like a mermaid or a merman. And then once you squeeze the legs together, you're going to lift the legs up and lift your arms up. Pull the belly in, pull the front ribs in, get really long. Now take the arms back behind you. Lift your chest up a little bit more. Keep squeezing the ankles together. Now see if you can interlace your fingers behind your back and add in a little bit more. All right, and then release. Make a little pillow with your hands and turn your head to one side. And relax for a moment. Take some big deep breaths. Okay, child's pose. Roll those shoulders onto your back. Press back, stretch out the spine. All right, this next one is going to require a block and a strap. So from here, you're gonna lie on your back. The first one you're gonna do is you're gonna squeeze the block with your legs. You have a couple different places where you can squeeze. You can either squeeze the block between your ankles. I would go for medium width if you do that. You're gonna squeeze between your thighs. I'd go for skinnier. So find something that works for you. Take the arms out to the sides. You can also do cactus arms if you want to bend your elbows. And we're going to try to keep our shoulders on the ground and keep squeezing into the midline with our legs. So from here, your legs are going to come a little closer to your chest. Your tailbone might roll up off the ground a little bit. That's fine. And then from here, you're going to lower your legs down to the right. So this is a core posture. You're going to go to about, I would say 60, 75 degrees, not super far. The reason why is because you're already starting to tuck your butt under and stretch out your low back too much. So we wanted to make a slight adjustment here. So you've gone slightly to the right. Now, take a moment and roll onto your outer hip a little bit more. So you're sticking your tailbone out and you're really on your hip. And then once you're here, squeeze in with that block. So you're looking at a line, a vertical line coming up from your right hand. And you're also trying to figure out if you can go lower. So you're going to try to bring your legs a little bit closer to that vertical line coming out of your right hand, or you can go lower, or you can do both. So you're going to lower, stick your tailbone out, keep squeezing so that right leg is doing more work, it's lifting up into the left leg, and you're going to lower to a place that you can actually maintain. So don't figure out how deep you can go, figure out how deep you can go and stay there. So big inhales, big exhales, stick the tailbone out. Lift that bottom leg up into the top leg. Wrap your right belly toward your left belly. Eventually, someday you're supposed to lower your hands, your foot down into your hand. Eventually. But right now, you're just trying to maintain something somewhere above that hand or close to that hand. All right, and come back through the center and go to the other side. So bring your legs a little bit closer to your chest. Go a couple degrees to the left. Take a moment and readjust and get onto your outer hip, outer thigh a little bit more. Squeeze the block, and then see if you can bring your feet or your knees a little bit closer to that left hand. Find something you can maintain. It may not be super deep. Breathe. Stick your tailbone out. Wrap your left belly towards your right belly. And come on up. Remove the block. Take a moment. Put your feet on the ground. Walk your feet out to the sides of your mat and then drop your knees in toward each other. Take a couple deep breaths. Now you will use your strap. So if you can make a loop for your strap that's roughly ankle distance around, hip distance wide, you can do that. I tend to be pretty lazy about it and just wrap the strap around a few times and tuck it in. So if you want, you can do this variation if you're ready for it. So roughly hips distance apart. Otherwise, just wrap your strap around a few times. Wrap, wrap, wrap. And then once you got it around, you can kind of tuck it in, and you got your strap that way. Now you're gonna push your feet out against the strap. So I'm flexing my toes, karate chopping the pinky edges of my feet against the strap. So I'm using a little bit more outer hip here instead of inner thigh. Take the arms out to the sides. Same as before. Bring your legs in a little bit, go to the right a little bit, lift up, come to your outer hip a little bit, and then see if you can bring your legs a little bit closer to your right hand. Since this is our second round, you may be feeling a little fatigue. You can try bending your knees if this is really, really tough. It still makes it hard, but it's just a little bit easier. Stick the tailbone out, wrap your right belly towards your left belly. Your top leg is doing more work now as it tries to lift. Keep trying to stick the tailbone out. And come on up. Let's go for the other side. Go a little bit to the left. Lift your hips up and come to your outer left hip. And then once you're on the outer left hip, then see if you can come down a little bit deeper. Wrap your left belly toward your right belly. And come on up. All right. Happy baby dead bug. Grab your big toes, rock from side to side. Now we're going to do cow face posture on our backs. So you may need your strap for this one. So I'll show cow face sitting up, just in case that's an option you prefer, but the back variation tends to be really nice. So cow face is one knee in, one knee over. You're trying to stack your knees over each other. However, on your back, you can play with it a little bit more. So you're going to wrap your right leg over your left leg. If you cannot grab that left foot, that's what you're going to use the strap for. So you can lasso that foot and grab onto it. If you can't, grab it with your hand. Otherwise, if you can grab with your hand, you're going to grab over the top of your foot and grab the pinky edge of your foot. So always grab the farthest away foot first, and then grab the foot closest to you. Then see if you can get your head and shoulders to the ground, which could be a challenge. And then you're going to rock from side to side a little bit. So you will notice as you rock over to your left side, assuming your right leg is the one crossing over, that you feel a lot happening in that hip area. And then as you breathe, you may find that you need a little bit more challenge. If that's the case, you're going to gently press your knees away from you and try to get more of a curve in your low back. Rocking to the right side is great too. It's more of a massage, but it does loosen up some of that connective tissue and help out the hips. So rocking to the left side, big hip stretch. Rocking to the right side, more of a massage, more of a compression, but it's still doing some good stuff. So if you want to rock from side to side, that's a great idea. Keep pressing your knees away from you. Keep trying to get a little bit of a curve in the low back. All right, let's try for the other side. So take that left leg over the right leg. Grab to the farthest away foot first. You may have to lift your head and shoulders off the ground. Wrap your left hand over the top of your foot or put the strap there, and then grab your left foot with your right hand. And then see if you can get your head and shoulders back to the ground. Easier said than done. And then breathe deeply, rock from side to side. So the right side, you're going to feel that big stretch in the left hip and left IT band. But don't neglect rocking over to the left side because it's getting some good stuff as well. Keep pressing the knees away from you. See if you can get that curve in your low back. And it just really depends. So depending on what's going on with your knees, depending on what's going on with your hips, some people have their feet down farther next to the hips, and that works really nicely for them. If you can get your feet up a little higher and get them in line with your knees more, check that out and just see how that feels in the hip. There's no wrong here as long as your ankles are nice and straight and you're trying to get a curve in your low back. Take about 2 more breaths. All right, and then release. Walk your feet out to the sides of your mat. And then we're going to do slightly different side of the hip. So feet are out to the sides of the mat, knees pointing up. You're going to windshield wiper your legs over to the right-hand side. So just drop your knees, keep your feet in place. Take your right ankle and place your right ankle on top of your left thigh near the knee, and maybe apply a little bit of pressure. And you'll get a little stretch through the psoas, sartorial muscle, through the front of the left hip, essentially. All right, release that right foot. Put it to the side of the mat again. Drop the knees over to the left side, and then take your left ankle and place it on top of your right thigh near the knee, and maybe apply some pressure. And look over your right shoulder. All right. From here, unwind. Take your right leg up. You may have to grab your foot with your strap and extend your left leg. So you're going to press your left heel toward the ground, press your left thigh toward the ground. So make sure this left leg is really strong and active. And then you're going to pull the right leg in towards you. This is my favorite posture. Most of us sit in chairs a lot. I was gardening a lot yesterday. Pretty much anytime you bend your legs, you're tightening up your hamstrings. So this is a great posture for just getting some space in those hamstrings, since they tend to be short and tight all the time. And now lift your head up and bow your belly. Try to bring your belly towards your thigh. Keep pressing your left heel into the ground. And bring your head and shoulders down. Take that foot or strap into your right hand. Bring your left hand to your thigh and hip. You do not want them to pop up. So left thigh and left hip stay down, and you're going to slowly lower your right leg. As you lower your right leg, be very aware of your left hip and left thigh. Keep pressing that left leg down. And if it's starting to threaten to come up, then you know that you've lowered your right leg enough. All right, bring that leg back up. And let's go for the other side. Take the left hand to the strap or the foot. Take the right arm out to the side. Roll onto your outer left hip. Look over your right shoulder. Bring that right leg across. I would go to parallels. That right leg should not really go below parallels. Parallel to the ground or higher. Take your right thumb into your right hip crease and tack your right hip away from you so you get some space there. You're essentially pushing the top of your femur bone into the back of your hip socket by putting your thumb into that hip crease. So press in there. You'll feel a little bit more in the hip, in the outer butt muscle, but you're also getting that right thigh bone into a nice neutral place in the hip. So keep pushing it away. Stick your tailbone out. All right, let's go for the other side. Left leg up. Grab your strap and put it around your foot, or use your hands on your foot. Extend your right leg, press your right thigh down and right heel down. Bring that left leg in. Breathe. Keep pressing that right thigh down. Notice where your tight spots are. You might even want to just take a moment and kind of massage the areas of your hamstring that feel tighter. You've got hamstrings, and not all the hamstrings are tight. Usually one is tighter than the other. So if you can find that tight one, for me, it's the outer hamstring. Take a moment to just give it some love. All right, lift your head and shoulders up and bow towards your left leg. Try to bring your belly up to your thigh. Don't strain your neck. Make sure your neck feels neutral. All right, head and shoulders down. Take that leg out to the side. Right hand comes to the right hip and right thigh. Keep the right hip down. Do not lower the left leg anymore if the right hip starts popping up. Look over your right shoulder. All right, take that leg back up and switch hands on your strap or on your foot. Take your left arm out to the side, look over your left shoulder, and slowly roll onto your outer right hip and bring your left leg across the body. So again, I wouldn't go lower than parallel, and then take that left thumb into your left hip crease and tack it into your hip crease and press your top of your femur bone away, essentially, and stick your tailbone out a little bit. Try to get a little bit of a curve in the low back. Keep looking over your left shoulder. All right, unwind. Do a happy baby dead bug. Rock from side to side. And we're going to end up in our back bend. So use your two blocks again, or if you have a bolster, you can use that. And we're going to hang out here. Another fun thing to do is you can put the bottoms of your feet together and under your blanket a little bit. You can roll up your blanket, put the blanket over your feet, and then under your thighs. So I'll demonstrate from the front as well. Blanket goes over your feet, and then you shove it under your calves or thighs, and that way you have a nice little hip opener and your legs are supported. So that's a really nice way to go. And then you're going to go block. Block, you can go higher if you want to. Bottom of the feet, take it under, and then find your blocks. And take a moment, get those arms out to the sides, breathe deeply. Notice the breath coming in and out of your nostrils. Roll your eyes in toward the midline where your eyes and nose meet. Notice the breath coming in through the nostrils and in through the throat. Notice the breath coming into your chest, into the back of the chest as well as the front of the chest. And then notice the belly rising and falling as the diaphragm pushes down and up. And don't try to control the breath, just notice the breath coming in and coming out. Keep your eyes rolled into the midline where your eyes and nose meet. And as always, I invite you to stay here longer. Take a much longer Shavasana if you can. But if you need to go, take a moment and stretch out your legs. Take your arms over your head. Take a big inhale and stretch. And a big exhale, relax. One more time, hold your breath for 5 counts. Take a big inhale, stretch it out. Hold it on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4, on 5. Big exhale, relax. And grab your mat on either side and press up. And come to a comfortable seated posture. Bring your hands into your heart center. And take a moment to thank yourself for getting to your mat. The hardest part of the yoga practice is getting here sometimes, most of the time. And take a moment to put some gratitude out there into the world and thank somebody else out there or something else. Realize that we are part of a bigger whole. And bring your hands up to your forehead for kind thoughts, down to your lips for kind words, and down to your heart center for kind intentions. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.